During a pandemic, how does a society continue to educate their youth? Well, in our current society, we move to online school, as it doesn't require any real interaction person to person. This is important, as the move to online school was necessary, but wasn't the only choice. I have the right to inform you on this pressing topic because I'm facing the problems firsthand as a student myself. Forcing students to continue the semester and pay tuition during a pandemic was a choice made by colleges, which didn't put the student first. The quality of education from online classes doesn't equate to in person classes. Coronavirus causes many challenges for the schooling system, and schools should have given options to students for their specific situations. Online classes are inferior to in person classes as they provide a worse learning experience. Worse performances are more commonplace in online classes than in face to face classes. This is because students aren't paying as much attention online, unlike a face to face setting. A growing body of evidence suggests that online learning works least well for our most vulnerable learners. Students with no technology, unsafe home environments, and other pressing issues will be affected the most, as they are the most vulnerable. Many students aren't attending online school, as it's a worse experience. In Los Angeles, about 13% of high school students have had no online contact with teachers since schools closed, and one third are not regularly participating in online learning. Many students are going with little to no education during this pandemic. I will now talk about what's causing these problems and the barriers that are confining the schooling system. Coronavirus is the reason schools transitioned to online, which is causing many barriers for teachers. The transition away from face to face classes was necessary as they would be too dangerous and would rapidly spread the virus throughout the country. Social distancing is necessary as healthy people can still spread the virus to people who are at higher risk. Lots of teachers already have online learning incorporated in their courses. However, the online learning available tends to be courses produced by a third party, as opposed to instructors creating their own digital lessons. Teachers are struggling to create their own digital lessons, which is hindering the learning experience. Teachers and students' morale has significantly dropped since the beginning of coronavirus. Teachers worry about the challenges and inequities that their students will face when the support that schools provide are that much harder to access. Students will miss out on important events such as graduation. I'm now moving on to talk about the solution for the crisis. Online classes shouldn't have been the only option available for students amid a pandemic. Students at SDSU were forced to switch to online classes because they want students to pay full tuition. It's a worse experience and doesn't deserve full tuition cost. The option to sit out of this semester and get a tuition refund should have been available, as many students don't think it's worth the full value they're paying for. Students and parents around the country have argued for a partial tuition refund as many families are hurting financially. Colleges have been strict and are staying firm on not refunding tuition. Experts say most colleges can't afford to pay back tuition, their main source of income, despite protests from students or their parents. It's unlikely colleges will issue any refunds for tuition this year, but one action you can take is to sue your own college. Two students have already begun doing this and are currently suing two different universities. The suits claim that students have paid for services they're no longer receiving. If you want your tuition money back, this might be your only option. Online school isn't worth full tuition cost and should be refunded. Face-to-face education is better than online classes. The school system was greatly affected by coronavirus, and students should have been given more options. In the future, we need the school system to be more prepared for pandemics like this. Here's a short video about the topic.
Meanwhile, students are rebelling against colleges and universities nationwide demanding tuition refunds as classes move online. However, the Washington Post reports many of these schools are not backing down despite mounting lawsuits and legal challenges. Students argue they're not getting the full college experience tuition pays for, including seminars, labs, internships, and study abroad opportunities. Education reporter Nick Anderson wrote that article for the Washington Post, and he is with us now to talk more about this. So, Nick, this is really interesting. Why aren't colleges willing to offer at least partial tuition refunds?
Well, they have a lot of expenses right now. They have to pay their salaries of professors who are still working. They have to pay staff who are trying desperately to keep the colleges operating at a sort of different level, but still operating. And they also have expenses in trying to change the way they teach and deliver remote learning. So they argue that it's fair for students to continue to pay the normal tuition rate.